This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, January the 3rd, is a New York Giants icon in the quarterback field. He seems to be better than Phil Simms, but he didn't have the passing accuracy in a Super Bowl like Simms did. But he comes from a great dynasty, the Manning football dynasty. Great job with quarterbacks and all that. He played college football at Ole Miss, was picked first overall in the NFL draft, and then, played for the Giants all his career, 16 years with the Giants, and twice giving the Giants a Super Bowl win. He's 42 years old today. He is Eli Manning. Eli Manning was born in New Orleans, the youngest of three boys to Olivia and Archie. And his older brothers actually played football coming up, Cooper and Peyton. I think an injury, if memory serves me right, I think an injury ruined Cooper's career. But yeah, I did Peyton Manning with Birthday Boy and all that. But anyway, Eli played college football at University of Mississippi. So Ole Miss, just like his dad, because his dad Archie was an Ole Miss legend. His brother Peyton went to Tennessee, but he went to Ole Miss. He did have a couple things with the shadow, but he needed to do whatever he could for Ole Miss. He played in 6 games in his freshman season, not that much, but with Romeo Miller gone from Ole Miss, he became the starter as the sophomore. And he played in the longest game in major college football history, 7 overtimes, losing to Arkansas 58-56. He threw for 6 touchdowns. So Ole Miss was 7-4 in their season, and he threw for nearly 3,000 yards. He just missed by 50 yards. 31 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. In his junior season, it looked pretty good and all that. He threw for over 3,400 yards with 21 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. And in his senior season, there were some problems and all that. Ole Miss did get to 10 wins thanks to the win over Oklahoma State at the Cotton Bowl. So he was named the Maxwell winner for nation's best all-around player. But no, he did not win the Heisman. He lost to Jason White of Oklahoma. And Larry Fitzgerald was second in that thing. Well, Manning graduated from the U of Mississippi with a degree in marketing. So in his 4 years at Ole Miss, he threw for 84 touchdowns, 36 interceptions. Many people were thinking he was going to be the number 1 pick in the 2004 draft, and the San Diego Chargers had that pick. San Diego was struggling. Ryan Leaf didn't pan out. Drew Brees was injury prone. Yes, he was a San Diego Charger. Let's not forget that. So anyway, the Chargers had the first overall pick. The reason why San Diego had the number 1 pick actually was because Arizona, even though that they could have tanked and lost to the Minnesota Vikings in the final week of 2003, actually beat the Vikings, denying the Vikings the NFC North, giving Green Bay that division title, and giving Nathan Poole the key to the city of Green Bay. But anyway, the Chargers wanted him number 1. But Eli and his father said he would refuse to play for the Chargers. So anyway, when they heard about Ryan Leaf saying that his experience with the team sucked, that the Chargers didn't really help Leaf with his personal problems. So the Chargers were like, I'm not scared. Let's pick him anyway. We might as well. We don't want him falling to another team. So they picked him with the first pick. But fortunately for Eli, the Chargers had a plan, because the Giants picked Phillip Rivers in the first round themselves. So the Chargers decided to swap Eli to the Giants for Phillip Rivers. And a 3rd-round pick, which actually was used to select Nate Keating from Iowa. Good place kicker. The Giants also gave up a 1st-round pick in 2005 and a 5th-round pick in 2005 to get him. That 5th-round pick was flipped, but the 1st-round pick was actually good for the Chargers because it got him to take Sean Merriman, who was good for a while. That trade actually worked out well. I mean, yeah, I'm talking about Eli, but Phillip Rivers actually became a pretty good quarterback for the Chargers, and that led the Chargers to get rid of Drew Brees, and New Orleans picked him up. So, in the end, Phillip Rivers is still a San Diego legend. Although the team's now moved to Los Angeles because of the LA Chargers. Right. Manning, Rivers, and Roethlisberger were in that 2004 draft. It was amazing and all that. Compared to the other two, Rivers and Roethlisberger, Manning did not have the passing yards, touchdowns, pass completions, wins, and even Pro Bowl honors. But he had the one thing that mattered: 2 Super Bowls. I mean, yeah, Roethlisberger also won the Super Bowl twice, but Eli won MVP both times. And in his rookie year, he came off the bench in week 1 after relief for Kurt Warner, 3 for 9, 66 yards. Not really that good. He would finally make a regular season start against the Falcons in November of 2004. So he did what he could, all that. So anyway, he had a terrible start against the Ravens. He had a 0.0 passer rating, which is worse if he had slammed the ball down on the turf and spiked it on every play. Sorry, that's a Jaguar Gator reference. But anyway, Eli was 1-6 in his starts. Not really that great. But Eli was given the starting job in 2005 once Kurt Warner left. So he did what he could and all that. Manning had the Giants at 2-0, but they had to go to San Diego and play the Chargers, who were still bitter over him refusing to play for the Chargers. And it worked. The Chargers won the game 45-23. Although Manning did throw for 352 yards. So anyway, he helped the Giants win the NFC East as a sophomore and were the 4th seed against Carolina. But somehow, in some way, they got blown out 23-0 by the Panthers. Yikes. Eli in the 2006 season got the Giants to the playoffs to beat the Eagles in the wildcard round, but the Eagles scored a late second field goal to win the game. However, his 4th season was the thing. He got the Giants in and all that. It looked pretty good. The Giants were the 5th seed in the 2008 playoffs. They had to go to Tampa and play the Bucks. The Giants won 24-14. I believe I picked the Giants to win. I'm like, Tampa, I don't really think it's that big. So you got 2 touchdown passes. And then the next week was the divisional round against the seemingly unheralded 13-3 Dallas Cowboys. It looked like the Giants were going to get blown over by their NFC East opponents. But no, somehow, in some way, Manning threw for 2 touchdowns in the win, and Terrell Owens blubbered like a baby. In fact, the Giants were the first team ever to be an NFC number 1 seed in the divisional round since the 12-team format in 1990. So you're saying that the number 1 seed for 17 years in the NFC won their divisional round matchup. Wow, I did not know that. Anyway, the Giants would then go to Green Bay to face Brett Favre and the Packers for the NFC title. Early in the day, the Pats completed a great season, in a sense. In the cold, the Giants beat the Packers in overtime. Lawrence Tynes missed the game-winning field goal in regulation, but in overtime he got a chance when Brett Favre decided to do his bravado and threw for an interception. Manning was happy, and then let's not forget the Eli Manning play. As much as I hate reliving it, because as a Pack fan, I can't. It happened. The Giants were down 14-10, and Manning on 3rd and 5. He was ready to be sacked, but he kept his progress moving forward, and he slipped out of the sack and threw to David Tyree, who caught the ball on his helmet for a large gain. He purposely did that because he knew that Ronnie Harrison was going to swipe it away. Tyree cannot believe his catch. Later on, Burris caught the touchdown from Eli, and the final score was 17-14. And the Giants won the Super Bowl. Manning was named MVP of that thing. And yeah, did it. The Giants didn't rest on their laurels. They won the NFC East the year after they won the the Super Bowl. They were 12-4. They were the number 1 seed. And shockingly, on home turf, they lost to the Eagles, 23-11. Can you believe it? They got bit. They ruined Dallas as a 1 seed the year before, and then as a 1 seed, they got ruined in the divisional round. Yikes! The 2009 season, he signed a 6-year contract extension. And the Giants went 8-8 and moved to MetLife Stadium from Giants Stadium. 2010, they won 10 games, but because the Packers beat the Bears, they got into the playoffs as a 6 seed. A lot of people said, it was hard pressed. The 2011 season, the Giants were really underdogs. They were the 6th seed. Well, they weren't the 6th seed, sorry. They won the NFC East, but they didn't have the best record. They had a terrible record. If I look at my stats, if I look at the stats, like the standings and all that, the Giants were 9-7. The 6th seed was 10-6. That was Detroit. So yeah, they won the division. Well, they faced the Falcons at home and beat them 24-2. It was just destroyed. Then they went to Green Bay in the divisional round, faced the number 1 seed, 15-1 Green Bay Packers that year, and they won. Manning threw for 3 touchdowns in that game. Now, I'll be honest with you. I actually picked the Giants to beat the Packers that day because I'm thinking to myself, I've seen this before. Giants, Packers overwhelming favorites to win, and the Giants went to Green Bay win. So I'm like, why not? I'll pick the Giants. I was right. The Giants then would face San Francisco in the NFC Championship game in San Francisco. Manning would set a franchise record with 32 completions for 316 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the overtime win. Now, the dramatics was because San Fran's punt returner had the ball deflect off of him. Off of him, and then he fumbled it, and the Giants got the ball back for the field goal. Then it was Super Bowl 46. Manning, Brady. Would Eli get Brady's goat for the second time, or will Brady get revenge? But the Giants won 21-17 in that game. So, anyway. Yeah, the Giants got it. Brady almost did it. Brady almost got the Hail Mary. In fact, the Giants became those 2011-12 Giants were the first team to win 9 games or fewer and win the Super Bowls. Every Super Bowl winner had at least double-digit wins in the Super Bowl era. Manning could not believe his luck. He got 4,900 yards passing in a Super Bowl in the same season. Nobody did that. Brady obviously didn't do it. Dan Marino didn't even do that. So the Giants were ranked last in the running game, 32nd of 32 teams to win the Super Bowl. And they won the Super Bowl. It's like, holy crap, that was a gigantic upset. I do admit I kind of watched the 2012 Super Bowl because I think that Super Bowl is better for me to watch than the 2008 one. Anyhow, after the Super Bowl run, the Giants tried their best. They got to 9-7, the same record as they did last year, but they didn't win the division or get to the playoffs for that matter. Ick. 2013 season, Manning finally passed Phil Simms for the all-time leader of Giants quarterbacks in yards passing. The Giants had some terrible seasons and all that. But the 2016 playoffs, they finally got into the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. They actually got to 11-5, got to the playoffs, and had to face Green Bay at Lambeau Field. Manning did well, 299 yards and a touchdown pass. But unlike the other 2 times, 2008 and 2012, the Giants could not win in Green Bay in the playoffs. That would have been amazing if the Giants could go to Green Bay, beat them, and then they go to the Super Bowl and they win. It was frustrating. I mean, I get it. So Manning in the 2017 season took 6th place on the all-time passing yard list, but the Giants were 3-13. Ugh. And then Eli threw for over 4,200 yards in the 2018 season, but the Giants went 5-11. The Giants almost got rid of Eli for the 2019 season, but anyway, it didn't happen. The team would pick Daniel Jones in the first round of the draft, and they needed an heir apparent because they figured Eli was screwed over. So anyway, he did his job. Know that Manning was actually not the starter for Week 3 against Tampa, which was shocking. And everyone thought Eli was going to have an acrimonious, or however you pronounce that word, end to his time with the Giants. But he came back because Jones got hurt. And, he tried. So after the Dolphins played the Giants at MetLife, Manning was taken off the field for his final home game as the starting quarterback. All that. The Giants would be 4-12, not that great. Eli could have been a free agent for the first time in his career, but he didn't think he wanted to be a backup quarterback, so he said, nah, why not? So he took an announcement January 22nd, 2020, and retired. His number 10 would be retired and has been retired since last year. So he knew he had to do that. Anyway, Eli is busy in the NFL because he and Peyton do what they call Manning Cast for ESPN. Analyzing, they talk about some stuff and all that. They have special guests and all that. It's kind of something cute and all that. Anyway. Yeah. So Eli, 234 starts as quarterback, finishing at 117 and 117. So 117 wins, 117 losses. Dead even. Despite the fact that he led the Giants to many playoff appearances. His passing yards, 57,023, not with 366 touchdowns and 244 interceptions. Postseason 8-4. It's funny, the 2 years that out of 6 that Eli won a playoff game, they went to the Super Bowl. That's kind of awkward. It's just like unbelievable. The 2 years that Eli led the Giants to a playoff win was when they won the Super Bowl. Otherwise, they were 0-4. He threw for 2,800 yards in the postseason, 18 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Still, 2-time Super Bowl champion against my Pats, to my chagrin, but it is what it is. 2-time Super Bowl MVP. And 210 consecutive starts by QB, third most of all time. That's great. He still holds the NFL record for most passing yards in a single postseason, 1,219 yards in 2011. But to be fair, he had played in that wild card game before the divisional round, the conference final, and the Super Bowl. He holds many Giants records. Why wouldn't he be? Anyway, he's married to Abby McGrew to have 3 daughters and a son. Eli would do a lot of things for Hurricane Katrina because, people in New Orleans got hurt, and, Archie grew up, and they all grew up in New Orleans, so he did what he did. He now has the Eli Manning Children's Clinic at the University of Mississippi Children's Hospital, which is amazing and all that. So they did all that. Eli's done pretty well for a lot of things. And, the Giants are a very good franchise. Oh, and I forgot to mention another thing about Eli Manning, and kind of a self-deprecation thing with me, is that when the Giants were playing the Pats in Super Bowl 46, I was part of Blue Shirt Underground Radio. Well, that's what they called themselves at BSU. And I found, when I did my own podcasting, I found that if the Patriots would lose to the Giants, I would be I would kick myself out of Blue Shirt Underground for 30 days, like for February. And then Jim Schmieterberg, who is the head of BSU, said, "No, no, I don't want you to do that. I heard about that, but no, I don't want you to do that. How about this? If the Giants beat the Pats, you have to put on a picture of the Super Bowl MVP with the trophy." And I don't know what the bet was if the Pats would beat the Giants, but I think he would have had to do the same thing. So anyway, yeah. So the Pats beat the Giants, lose to the Giants, and of course, I had to have Eli Manning's picture as my profile pic for 7 days, which I'm like, yeah, I guess I better. So I did right off the bat. And then on the BSU show the following Wednesday, when they were talking about a couple of New York Rangers bitching about the Pats losing to the Giants, Jim goes by and says, "Tell you one thing about Cutter. Cutter made this thing that if the Patriots were to lose to the Giants, he would be off BSU forever for a month." And I said, "No, don't do that." So I just said, this is him talking. So I just said, just have a picture of the Super Bowl MVP with the trophy. He didn't. The Patriots lost. He didn't whine. He didn't complain. He just did it. So props to Cutsy. I still remember that. Like, Jim and I have a love-hate relationship on the show. But anyway, it doesn't matter. And, I know he'll be happy that I did Eli Manning. Finally. I mean, it came full circle, I guess. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.